I've heard from a few singers when I asked, where do your melodies come from? And they would say, my ancestors sing them to me when I'm sleeping. And you just literally said that. So the one time I remember, I work a lot with R.J. Benjamin.
Yeah.
And his theory is if he dreams of a melody and when he wakes up, he's forgotten it, it was not meant to be. So I find it interesting that you wake yourself up to record it. He's like, if the melody's meant to stick, it will stick.
I'll find your notes. And you can hear.
That you groggy out of bed.
3 o'clock in the morning, and I have to leave my marital bed because I've done it before. My wife, when my wife's be lying next to me, she'll like wake up and look at me, and I'm like singing these little melodies into the phone, and she'll think I'm mad. But she's going to say use that. But I actually get out of bed now and I go downstairs.
Oh wow!
And I sing it into my phone, but you can still hear it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And then that song becomes something,
Wow.
most of the time. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just things you hear during the day. Who knows? In your subconscious. Maybe it's stuff you hear playing during the day, or I've been before in a shopping mall, and I promise you, a person has pushed a trolley past me. And you know the trolley with the wonky wheel that they've all had?
Yes.
It's like it had this like little skip beat thing. And I wrote a song on that.
Oh my God.
I promise you.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.
If you've never heard of the name Kurt Darren, I'm sure you've heard of this.
Hoe ek wil huis toe gaan, na mama toe. Die rivier is vol my trane rol. 'n Bokkie wat vanaand by my wil lê, sê kan maar lê, ek is 'n loslappie. Hoe ek wil huis toe gaan, na mama toe. Die rivier is vol my trane rol. 'n Bokkie wat vanaand
Kurt Darren,
Wow.
welcome.
What a welcome. Thank you so much, Relebogile. I really appreciate it.
How
Good
do
to
you
be here.
feel like listening to that song? Are you sick of it yet?
No, it's actually a good thing for me to hear a song like that, because I'm just thinking, hoe ek wil huis toe gaan, na mama toe. Imagine a beat drops there
Yes.
now. Change it
Yes.
up a bit. You see, there's reasons why I come through for these interviews. Firstly, you. Secondly, because it gives me ideas.
And you know what I just love about you, and I have to share with everybody, all my interactions with you. I think I was creative directing a show with you. You are just a consummate professional. And then I was surprised when you were performing. You actually do a mashup of Los Labi with Mafiki Zolo's
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
And I don't think many people know that for your shows.
Well, many years ago I was performing at, remember the Carousel?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm a Pretoria girl.
Yeah.
Like we used to go to the carousel.
60 k's outside Pretoria.
Yes.
And we used to do shows there. I'm talking about quite a few years ago. And I was busy signing. I was signing CDs after a show. I did it there. And remember that it's like a tavern kind of big saloon place.
Yes.
And while I was signing, they were playing music for the people on the dance floor. And they
Yes.
played Mafiki Zolo, Indihamba Nawe.
Yes.
And I was sitting there and I couldn't sign anymore because I was just getting so excited. I was like, what is this? This is amazing. And then I contacted Theo. And I said to him, Theo, you don't know me from Barcelona. He said, no, I know you. I said, okay, I want to do Indihamba Nawe in Afrikaans. And he said, go for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know you actually called them. I thought you just made it part of your set.
No. I do things properly.
Oh, yes, you do. But the way that the mashup works, though, because the chord progression is very close to one another.
Yeah.
It's
so-
not too far off.
Well, I'll either do it on its own or as a mashup as a part of Los Lapi, because it's just such fun. And both songs just bring out that, when you're walking down the street and you're tired of all the bad headlines on the billboards and
Yes.
stuff, and you just get this vibe. Both those songs do it to you. So it was a perfect match.
And I have to be honest, as we started playing it, and I'm so glad we had the live version on the system, it really made me feel like being at a stadium and preparing for a game, because I know that the song plays quite a lot.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel, being a part of some of our country's, really epic moments.
No, it's amazing. And the thing with that song and Kaptein, they'll play in the weirdest places. It'll be either at the Cricket World Cup, at a rugby game, at a bar mitzvah, anything. It's like crazy. So for some other reason, it's very nice. People see me as a South African artist, not just the guy that originally did Macy, which is lekker.
I feel like the Kaptein surpassed Macy, and every time I do any kind of show for television and we have to dig into building this purely South African repertoire, I have to tell you, your music is always there. So many people who may have not have known that Kaptein is your song are like, oh, this is Kurt Darren.
Yeah.
Because not many people are within the Afrikaans community. And the only reason I know so many Afrikaans artists, because in my previous life, I'd be performing at Arklop and die Kaka and Ga. And a lot of the Afrikaans artists were there. But I have the hugest respect for you. So I have to start by saying, I am so, so glad you came to join us. And I'm wondering, when the Springboks won the World Cup, were you sitting there crossing fingers that it was not going to be Ngalagata playing, that it was going to be Kaptein?
No, I love Ngalagata. Yeah. I love that song. It's just one of those songs, that you could just hear anywhere. I mean, Kaptein and Ngalagata, there's quite a few. There's a couple of Mango Groove songs, some Johnny Clegg songs that you can play to any culture in South Africa, and they're gonna just love it and sing along, even if sometimes they don't know what they're singing.
Yes.
It's kind of like what is that thing? Aserie, and what's it?
Oh, Aserehe. Ahe to the yeba sahebi, Mahabi and the boogie dibi.
Oh, that's the words.
The only reason I know the words is because remember VH1 used to have the lyrics.
Yeah, okay.
And I was in that era where we would be rewinding the VHS tape.
Yeah.
And then the girls disappeared.
Yeah.
But I know the lyrics of Kaptein. There's some other songs.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's in South Africa, of all places, you see it, that it's true that music is a universal language.
Yes. It's
just that beat, South Africa's just got this beat. And, a lot of my songs have been redone all over the world, like Kaptein, Hemel op Tafelberg, Macy. In Holland and Germany and Belgium, there's some big artists there that have covered my songs.
Wow.
It's amazing. So I go over there at least twice a year. And I do their big street festivals and things. And if there's 15 artists performing, 15 Dutch artists or 15 German, at least 6-7 of them are singing a Kurt Darren cover.
Are you for real?
Yeah, I've driven before on the biggest radio station. It's called Radio NL in Holland, and I tune into it sometimes. Like I'll be on my way to a show in Holland, in Amersfoort or something, in one of the squares, and on the radio here comes Blaubergstrandse Sonntag in Dutch kind of thing.
My goodness.
Yeah, so I've had at least 40 songs covered in those countries, which is amazing for me.
And I think many people are not aware of how international you can be, because people think Afrikaans is so restricted to South Africa. But as you say, music is universal. And if Jerusalem is not, something that can show what happened around the world and how big that song went. And I'm thinking to myself, do you have a bit of a formula? I know some songwriters get into a formulaic mode of, what those chord progressions are that are going to be catchy, the tempo, as soon as you open up your Logic Pro, exactly what you're going to do and which key, and you're going to keep it in a major. Or do you sometimes just sit and say, I actually just want to feel what comes out, whether the record label thinks it's going to sell or not is irrelevant?
Okay, so I've been asked that question many times in many interviews, but never quite like that. With so much detail. Wow. Sure, you know your stuff. No, look, I mean, when I write, there's things built in you, in your body, when it comes to rhythm, when it comes to sounds, when it comes to melodies that you're either born with or you're not born with. Yes. I wasn't taught music. I can hardly play instruments. I play a bit of guitar.
But you look like you would be those guitar players that are doing those.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, when we record songs, most of the times, from my first CD was in 1995, so I've got 30 CDs out. But
so to the young people listening, a CD is this thing thing that you would buy were your songs.
It's like a shiny disc.
And remember, there was a time of singles, though.
There was a time of singles, and there was also a time of CDs. Like it's like a gold CD instead of silver. You know, it's copied. And then people come to shows and ask you, please sell my CD.
With the purple
That's
flare.
not my CD. You copied that on your computer. A lot of fun. But since those times, if we're in studio and there's a accomplished guitar player playing my solos in the studio, I'd sing the solos to him.
Oh,
So it's like that. It's the
nice.
weirdest thing. I got this kind of built-in band in me kind of thing. So I come up with these melodies. Sometimes when I dream them at night. I've got so many on my phone, on voice notes where I've taught myself 70% of the time to wake myself up. And I just sing them into my phone.
Wow.
So that must be running through you somehow to create these melodies and these ideas. Like little things will give me ideas for songs. Little things that people say will just give me ideas for songs. And I'd say, okay, here's the bass of our song. Let's go and create this thing now. And we'd use the melodies that we came up with in the last writing session or whatever. And I've always written with different people, you know, different people in my record company. Different musicians kind of thing, which I like because there's new blood and new ideas the whole time, and I really believe in collaborating because I think it just brings out the best that you've got.
I've heard from a few singers when I asked, you know, where do your melodies come from, and they would say, my ancestors sing them to me when I'm sleeping. And you just literally said that. So the one time I remember, I work a lot with RJ Benjamin.
Yeah.
And his theory is if he dreams of a melody and when he wakes up, he's forgotten it. It was not meant to be. So I find it interesting that you wake yourself up to record it. He's like, if the melody's meant to stick, it will stick.
I'll find your notes. And you can hear.
That you groggy out of bed.
3 o'clock in the morning and I have to leave my marital bed because I've done it before. My wife, when my wife's be lying next to me, she'll like wake up and look at me, and I'm like, like singing these little melodies into the phone, and she'll think I'm mad. But she's going to say use it. But I actually get out of bed now and I go downstairs.
Oh wow!
And I sing it into my phone, but you can still hear it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And then that song becomes something, you know,
Wow.
most of the time. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just things you hear during the day. Who knows? In your subconscious. Maybe it's stuff you hear playing during the day, or I mean, I've been before in a shopping mall, and I promise you, a person has pushed a trolley past me. And you know the trolley with the wonky wheel that it all had?
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
it's like it had this like little skip beat thing, and I wrote a song on that.
Oh my God.
I promise you.
You
It's the
you
weirdest thing.
really are the ultimate songwriter. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we continue chatting.
Afternoon, Relebogile. I love the way Kurt Darren calling your name, Relebogile. Thank you.
Thank you so much. He's had years of practice now. But I actually say Afrikaners have no excuse to mispronounce my name.
Yes.
Because of the r and the ch.
Yeah, exactly that.
The salad, the salad.
Relebogile.
There we go. I have, you know, been watching your career for so many years, and I'm wondering, with the way that times are changing, how do you keep up? How do you? I don't like to use the word relevant because it sometimes sounds frivolous. But this is what you do for a living. This is your life. How do you keep yourself still versatile? You've been a presenter. You know, were on The Masked Singer, and you fooled the detectives. You really have done some interesting things in your career, and you're still going.
I like mixing it up. I like just having fun. So I think this whole thing that I'm doing is a business journey for me. You know, I'm just loving it. You know, so if I can look after my family and give them security and make sure that they're okay for the rest of their lives by doing what I love, I mean, who doesn't want to be in that position? You know, whether you're a builder or a doctor, or my father was a plumber. You know,
Oh,
and he
wow.
looked after us. So I think people out there can really, I don't do it on purpose, but I think they can see I love what I do.
Yes.
I mean, nothing's an effort for me. If you ask me to be on The Masked Singer, if you ask me to do a movie, which I've done like 6 or 7 movies, or presenting on TV or whatever, you know, I just I enjoy every second of it. Yeah, so I know that you asked me. I know that Bashida, when she asked me to do the interview, she asked me for 3 challenges.
Yes.
And I kind of don't see challenge. I see opportunities. So when things happen to me that might have happened in the past, whether it be a car accident or whether it be whatever, I just see it as opportunity for thinking a little bit differently. Or CDs disappearing. You mentioned CDs don't exist anymore.
Yes.
So everything became streaming, and the whole artist family was up in arms about the streaming thing, but you just got to make it work. You got to make it work in the context of the here and now kind of thing. If you're going to live in the past the whole time, I think you're not going to proceed much further.
So, I mean, one thing people must know that don't understand the music industry as much as they do, you at least write 95% of your songs.
Yeah.
So when people do cover it, you are, ka-chinging like Taylor Swift is ka-chinging, which is a big part of your catalog.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about, like you speak so passionately about you love what you do and all those things. How did you survive COVID? Because that was, some artists really struggled, and I'm not just talking financially, like psychologically, because they find their creativity by being outdoors or by engaging with other people, and others really took it and went with it and created new businesses with it. How did it take its toll on you mentally? Did it help you thrive, or did you struggle?
Well, obviously, everyone's challenges are different. I think in the entertainment industry, for all of us, there were no shows, there were no performances, unless you're doing it online. And how many times can you do online performances from your house? Kind of thing. I got bored with myself.
Everybody needs to
second
watch
one.
this YouTube video when it comes out. You need to
my
see
mother.
Kurt's facial expression.
Jeez, like-
You got bored of yourself because you were like, okay, we've done the kitchen and we've done
Yeah.
the lounge.
Yeah.
Where to
Singing
next?
Los Lapi in the bathroom or whatever, But,
Did you
but
make your wife work? Did you make her
she was
set
a
up-
camera woman. She was a camera woman. It got so bad at the time. But it was more boredom than anything else.
Yes.
And me just want to be with people. I wrote a song called Die Goeie Ou Dae in COVID, just when I was missing my friends. Like, I miss shaking your hand and
Wat
seeing you and
beteken die-
hugging.
oh, the good old days, yes.
And the good old days was March 2020. That was the good old days for me. Like, just hugging and just like, how are you? Kind of thing. But I mean, it got so bad that at one stage during the second... Why are we talking about COVID now? It's like-
the second lockdown.
Okay, the second lockdown. The second erge lockdown. It got so bad. I'm sitting there. I mean, my wife was worse than the person that spoke on the TV every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
With rules because she would keep me in lockdown, boy. Good night. I wasn't allowed past my driveway. She was bad. And then
But you guys have kids, so
I know.
we understand.
I know, but it was like my brother's having a braai up the road. He stays 2 blocks. I couldn't even go to the braai. But it got so bad that when there was one stage, I'll never forget, I started playing poker with my friends on the
Yes.
computer. So as a group of about 32 people.
Wow.
So we're playing this poker thing, and I'm doing really well.
Yes.
I was like ranked number 1
Yes.
on this online poker thing with them, just with the friends. And I'd walk around with my laptop like this, and we stay in a house where the stairs go up quite high, kind of thing. And I was walking down the stairs, and I slipped on a soft toy, and I fell down the stairs. And I promise you, you must see the photo. I'm lying at the bottom of the stairs. My laptop is cracked. My screen is cracked, and my elbow. So my elbow is split in 3 places. There's just blood everywhere, but all you see is a smile on my face because I know now I get to go to the hospital.
And leave the house.
I get to leave the house and go have stitches. I promise you, the hospital is like 2 kilometers away from the house. I took about an hour to get there. I just drove around. It was like freedom. Jeez, like, can you imagine we lived like that?
I can't.
And I had these stitches. The
You
doctor,
were happy. Just admit you fell on purpose.
No, I didn't actually. I didn't, but I didn't mind it. I'm just glad I didn't get more injured. But, so I had fun. So we made it work. So, and I've invested well over the years in different things, different business and stuff. So I was, of course, you lost a lot of income over that period. But, I mean, I was okay. There were a lot of people in a much worse situation than I was, much, much worse. So I was feeling for them, and I even organized a show at in the Pilansberg. I don't know if you're allowed to mention the resort.
You can mention the resort.
Sun City.
Okay, yes.
I did a thing called Afrikaans Gaan Global.
Yes.
Where I organized this show. So only 500 people, according to the laws at that stage, were allowed to attend the event.
Yes.
In the Valley of the Waves. We built this massive stage.
Oh, wow.
But what we did was, it was a 12-hour concert called Afrikaans Gaan Global. Where I got all these singers, I think there were about 15 to 20 singers, and we did a 12-hour concert broadcast all around the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, from America to, so they're all in different time zones, obviously in Australia and everything. So people were tuning in at different times. So I kind of made that work. And out of that, I managed to pay all the artists and all the sound guys and everything, just get them some kind of income. So I like doing things like that. I like thinking out of the box when it comes to things like that.
Please, I need your house address to send your wife a gift for being strict with you during COVID, because good on her. We go to the news when we come back. More with Kurt Darren. It's just after 2:30, time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. Tshwane police are investigating the cause of an accident between a bus and a bakkie on the M1 in Bainspoort near Cullinan. 3 people died after a bus and a bakkie collided, while 26 others were rushed to hospital with injuries ranging from minor to moderate. City Power says its approved tariff increase by the National Energy Regulator does not mean that every customer will experience the same increase. The power utility announced earlier today that residents will face a 12.7% increase from the 1st of July. It says the tariffs are determined by several key factors such as industry inflation, operational costs and cost structure. And the Kenyan High Court has approved the use of military force to restore order in the country following days of anti-tax protests. More than 20 people have reportedly been killed in nationwide protests that sparked last week in Nairobi. Armored vehicles are currently patrolling the streets in the country's capital following clashes between police and protesters who threatened to storm the presidential palace. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 3 o'clock or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
While traveling in the Bedfordview area, we still have got heavy delays on the R24 East between the N12 merge and the Edenville Road exit. That's due to an earlier accident. Speaking of which, we still have got heavy delays. This is now between the Edenville Road exit and the Kilulis interchange. If you are traveling on the R21 South in the Clayville area, roadworks are taking place on the R21 South near the Olifantsfontein Road. They're causing heavy delays. And there's also roadworks in the city of Tshwane along the R21 North and the N1 South at the Flying Saucer interchange, also causing some issues there. And that's your last traffic update from me, Amo Ramela. Otherwise, Mbangeli Zuza will have your next traffic update at the top of the hour.
Are you tripping over your words because of Kurt Darren? Because you were tripping and I'm like,
he's looking at me, I'm like, I've got it together, but no, the words is just struggling to come out.
I'm finding it fascinating because, let me tell you why, because you've got a blank screen in front of you.
Yeah, but I've got my phone in my hand.
She's got her phone on Waze or something.
Yeah.
And you're looking at the heavy traffic.
Yes,
That's brilliant.
She's
That is
brilliant,
brilliant.
right?
Wow.
Now she's going to go blush and cry in the bathrooms.
That's beautiful.
Thank you for the traffic.
702.
The upside of failure.
Proof that a setback can lead to a step forward.
The upside of failure with Kurt Darren. 011-883-0702 and the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. So many of your voice notes and messages are coming through. One message says, Kurt Darren, I thank you for Macy Macy. I didn't even know the name of the artist, but I've always loved the song. I was introduced to it by my manager, Johannes, back in the day while working for the Burger Box Roadhouse in Krugersdorp. He'd always played after work. Thank you, Relebogile. Now I know the name behind Macy Macy. Best song I have ever heard in Afrikaans.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow.
And some voice notes.
Kurt Darren, Etienne Iso. Hope everything is well on your side. It just struck me, 1995, your first album, 2025, that will make it 30 years since your first recording. Planning anything big for the 30th anniversary of your first release? I think that'll be something to celebrate indeed. Stay cool, man. All the best. Bye-bye.
Wow.
30 years.
30 years. I don't like aging my career like that.
No, but that is such a feat.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, it's just been such a fun journey and such a you've met so many wonderful people along the way, and my music is taking me all over the world. I'm going now, August, I'm going to Australia, New Zealand, England, with Spookwolf in the beginning of August, and in America in March next year. So I get all over the world. And Etienne, thank you for your question. Bye, donkey. But we'll see. We're planning something. I shared
You
it
can't
now.
say yet.
I shared it now with the studio. But it's something
It's
like
our secret.
Really special end of the year.
Nice.
And there might be a special show coming towards the end of the year at a venue not too far away from here. So we'll see. But none of it's really celebrating 30 years. It's just celebrating just music and just the journey I've been on. It's been amazing. I haven't really put in years. I remember I was singing long before I made my first CD. I was already 25 when I made my first CD. So I've been singing for many more years before that, but my first actual production was 1995. And you're talking about what we spoke.
Stepping on toes.
Stepping on toes. The one thing that I didn't step on toes, but I got signed to Gallo Music in 1995.
Yes.
To Gallo Music. That was my first big signing to do my first CD. And one of the things I did after I'd released the CD, they asked me to perform a certain song, to go into studio and record it, because it was between me and a certain other singer who was going to perform the song. And then I had to go to France, and then they chose the other singer, and she made a great job of PJ Powers singing the World Cup song. So I sang the World in Union as well. There's a recording of me somewhere singing the World in Union.
That is hilarious, but it happens in the industry.
But, maybe it just wasn't my time then.
Yes.
There's things that have happened further on in my career that have just been amazing, maybe chance that other people don't get. And the nice thing, I think, if you speak to a lot of people in the industry, I've always kept my eye on what I'm doing kind of thing, and just trying to better my last production or product or whatever. But I've always taken people along the way with me. I've always done that, and I love doing that. If I'm on stage and I see someone standing on the side listening, and I know it's a singer that's about to come, that is about to explode, I will get them up. Or someone that's been trying really hard, I say, come and sing a song with me, kind of thing. I love that.
I love the PJ Powers story because, the Hollywood stories of, we all know Will Smith turned down this job and how do they feel about it, but we don't know the South African stories. But I truly believe, as you say, everything is meant to be. Yeah. And we look forward to seeing what you're going to do for the 30 years because it lines up with freedom and democracy. More voice notes.
Kurt, my buddy, really miss our nights of karaoke at the Godfather in Centurion, and then obviously working so many gigs together doing karaoke's. Good to hear you, my buddy, and I hope you're well. This is Chris Eckstein from Radiohead.
Yeah.
Good day, Relebogile. So I'm finished here in the car because I had to Google who you're speaking to, who you've got in the studio rather. And I always get these guys confused, Steve Hofmeyer and Kurt Darren. I was wondering if he gets that too also. But another thing that I'm actually quite surprised at is that the voice that I'm listening to now that you're speaking to on the radio is different to the face that I know. So the guy that you're talking to sounds like he's in his 20s probably, and I'm shocked to see that he's 54. So I don't know, his voice sounds like a young man. But and I also didn't know that he sang that song that says Ek wil na huis toe gaan, na mama toe. I didn't know who sang that song, but now I know it's him. Thank you.
Hi, Relebogile. Please, can you ask Kurt if there's any chances of some Afrikaans Amapiano? Thank you. Great show. Marlon in Winchester Hills. Thanks.
I know for a fact you would do it.
No, 100%. I've done lots of collaborations. So I've been asked to do lots of collaborations, but I also don't just want to jump on bandwagons. I like doing things first kind of thing. And my piano thing has come up. Some of the guys wanting to do something, and I'm always open to anything. But I think it'll just be fun. If I could do something for fun and not be forced by a record company just to do it commercially, I'll do it. 100%. And I've got a very good relationship with my record company, so they understand where I come from.
Yeah.
So if that kind of thing does arise, I'll definitely do it. As for Chris Eckstein, his father is Eddie Eckstein from the Bats.
Oh, wow.
He's such a legend, and we used to do that many, many years ago in the Godfather restaurant in Centurion, and it was so much fun. And Chris and his brother were such great guys, and I just love their dad, Eddie Eckstein. The other guy, what was he talking about?
The confusion of
the age.
No, not the age. Do people confuse you with Steve Hofmeyer?
Well, I know Steve very well. Steve's actually a great guy. So, but people do confuse because of the blonde hair and probably the Afrikaans thing.
Also, like all Afrikaans people look alike. I mean, there's that too.
Wow.
No,
Did we go there?
I find it interesting because I think when people are not in a specific genre, it is easy to get confused.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that people would be like, oh, I thought that was this person.
Yeah.
Because if you play an Afrikaans really popular song, maybe somebody who's not in that space is like, oh, it must be Steve Hofmeyer. Or the first one that comes to mind. Or they might hear his music and also say, oh, is that Kurt Darren?
No, of course. But the other voice note, also don't believe everything you read on Wikipedia. The guy said,
the thing is, he's not 54, he's 72.
Yeah, I'm 72.
We're taking a break. When we come back, we're going to chat about some of Kurt's failures.
702.
The upside of failure.
Proof that a setback can lead to a step forward.
The upside of failure with the phenomenal Kurt Darren, and so many lovely messages coming in for him. 011-883-0702, the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. One says, I'm enjoying the interview with Kurt Darren, a well-rounded human being and family man with a great sense of humor and a positive outlook on life. Best wishes, Dr. Philemon Mahume. Another one says, Dear Lebza, it is so true what your guest is saying. When I compose, different music comes to me in different forms. Sometimes it starts with me creating lyrics. Sometimes I get the melody, whether sleeping, walking, or just telling myself that I'm composing a song. Lastly, it's when I get the rhythm of the drum beat. So yeah, it is what it is. Kanti from Sebokeng in the Val. Love your show, Relebogile, is what they say. You had quite a massive accident a couple of years ago, and you broke ribs, and I mean, what happened?
Okay, it wasn't a failure.
No, it's not a failure.
Maybe mechanical failure, but not from my side.
It's not a failure, but it's the kind of thing where, and I say this often, if your mind is not in the right place, it's a life and death situation. So in terms of where you are in your mind space, it is such a critical thing to recovery and healing.
100%. So this, I think it was about 10 years ago now. It feels like 2 years ago, but it was about 10 years ago. And I had a very bad car accident. I broke a whole lot of ribs. I had a brain injury. I had sixth nerve palsy. So my one eye looked into the corner for 2 years. I wore an eye patch for 2 years.
I remember that.
Even touring overseas or dark glasses. I wore that. But when I was lying in my hospital bed.
Wait, did you wear the eye patch so that we didn't have to see that your eyes up
100%. But also, I would see two of you right now, if that was still the case. If I went to go play golf, I saw two golf balls. My friends had to tell me which one I had to swing at. That was bad. If you're performing on stage and there's steps going down the stage, like at Sun City, and the steps going down the stage, you had to literally feel with your foot which was the real step, because they both look the same. Complete double vision. So I had that for 2 years, and they operated and they moved half of my muscle in my central nerve over to the left-hand side. So now I see you.
Yes.
Does it look okay? Does it look kind of aligned?
It does. I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, was the patch to help you see, or just so you didn't want us to look like, which eye should I look at?
Yeah, but exactly. But it would be like that.
Yes.
Imagine me performing after all these years. And they look at me and everyone's feeling sorry. I'm like, no.
How did you recover?
No. So I went into the operation and eventually so I got no peripheral vision still this side. So I have to look I have to look left.
Yes.
I can't turn my eyeball left.
Yes.
But that's just part of life. I mean, I'm still here, so I survived that thing. But lying in my hospital bed, I mean, I was really bad for quite a while. They airlifted me and all that kind of stuff. And there's people that have been through much worse than I have. So, it's no use you lie there and feel sorry. You just make plans for what's going to happen now. So what was going to happen is the doctor said to me, okay, we're going to have to wait at least a year or two to see if your nerve is broken off, cut off, or if it's just trapped somewhere in in your brain somewhere. And we had to do that with this eye patch with the dark glasses. And I wrote a song in my hospital bed called, now remember, I'm the captain ook.
Yes.
So I wrote a song called Seerover. In other words, pirate.
Yes.
For all the kids out there, so they saw Captain performing on stage, they'd be okay that he's wearing an eye patch because now he's a seerover for a little while.
I get it.
So I did a thing called seerover lying in the hospital bed because that's just the way I work. I just can't go and sit back and go, oh, gee, okay, can you stand in for me? I just carry on with life, And then all those little curveballs that life throws you, I think is just see as challenges and just opportunities to just do something different.
So what for you have you learned about the concept of failure in your entire 72 years of life?
72, wow.
What have you learned? Because your attitude really is so positive. I believe you when you say I've never had failures. You just see them as challenges that become opportunities.
God, everyone has different kinds of challenges. Maybe my challenges are musical. Maybe my challenges are market related. Maybe my challenges are financial. Who knows, But in every aspect of my life and the different things I've gone through, I've just kind of met those challenges, and just there is always a way forward. Anyone that works for me, works with me, whether it be a band, sound people, my office, whatever, no, there's no impossible. There's no way you could say, listen, we've got a problem. Ons het nou 'n probleem. We've got a big problem now. They said there is no problem. But tell me the solution, kind of, because there is most of the times always a solution. And it's kind of the way I approach life.
Kurt Darren, I absolutely love you, and I'll continue to just adore you and your work ethic. But more importantly, man, just how you look at life. You've inspired me today and inspired so many of our audiences. So go and stream more of Captain and Loslapi and book Kurt Darren for your corporate gigs for just those 2 songs.
Yeah, just, you know what? You played right into my hand there. Wow.
Kurt Darren on
you.
702.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.